Contrary to popular belief, I'm not having a mental breakdown. I am shaving my head though. Oh god, what am I doing? The thing is, I don't know what I'm doing. I kind of do. No, I don't. I don't even know how to work this. Okay, so I feel like I need to provide some context. So shaving my head is something that I've thought about a lot, and you know, I don't have much to shave off. As you can see, I've cut my hair short a lot. The sides were actually shaved, it's just grown out quite a bit. But when I had chin-length blonde hair, I had shaved like the entire underside of my head. So it's not that I haven't shaved my head before, it's that I haven't shaved like my whole head. And not even, I'm not sure how much I want to shave. I kind of just want to buzz it off. I don't know how, oh my god, I think there's other, I don't know what I'm doing. That's a great start. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm documenting it because that's of course what you should do when you have no idea what you're doing. No, so what brought this on, and what's probably going to freak people out the most is that I'm doing this because Tyler Joseph and Josh Dunn now have both shaved their heads. But it's not in a like, I'm trying to be them kind of way. There we go, got it. It's not that I'm trying to be them or copy them or any of that. It's just like what it represents to Tyler in like several music videos now. I am going to be listening to Levitate and Car Radio because I'm a piece of trash. I don't know, I'm a sucker for symbolic actions and stuff, which is why I love 21 Pilots. So I figured, why not do the absolute most. Oh my god. I don't know what I'm doing. Here's the thing, I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm gonna do it because I don't give a fuck. This is the worst thing I've ever done. It's not. I've made worse decisions. I've gotten a lot of impulse tattoos. 2. They're both 21 Pilots. So, you know what? No one should be surprised I'm shaving my head because of 21 Pilots. I need to text my mom first. I'm not having a mental breakdown. And I'm cutting my hair though. I need to do it or I won't do it. Oh my god, yes! This is everything. I'm getting hair all over myself. That's fine. Here's the thing, I didn't have very much hair to shave. Oh my god, I love it so much. I'm covered in hair. I love it so much. I was so nervous about this, but I love it. I need to fix the back. The nape of my neck was kind of too long, but oh my god, I'm obsessed with it. Best impulse decision. Best. Oh boy, I'm excited for this one. So Levitate. I was waiting for a song like Levitate. I've said this on like Twitter and stuff and to friends. I was waiting for a song like Levitate, a song that like you look into the lyrics and there is so much to unpack. There's so much metaphor and callback to other songs and other themes and ideas, and there's so much complexity to it. You can just dive in and find so many different meanings and a different meaning each time, and there's a lot that I'm positive that I haven't figured out yet. Like there are whole sections that I haven't touched yet just because what I have analyzed of it I haven't seen anyone else really talk about, and I wanted to talk about it. A lot of what people are discussing regarding Levitate right now is the video, and while that video is ruining my life, I want to talk about the lyrics because this is like my thing. This is OG Clique Theory content. I go into the lyrics and I just pick them apart and figure out what he's trying to say to us. The first thing I want to touch on is the word levitate. The most common meaning of levitate that I've seen a lot of people talking about, and it's even referenced in the lyrics up off my feet, you know, like floating. But levitate comes from the root word levity, which means lightness of mind, character, or behavior. And when you think about it that way, the lyrics make a lot more sense. Especially because a lot of the song talks about vulnerability and dema, which a lot of people are theorizing is a representation of a mental trap like depression or anxiety. So knowing how to levitate, knowing how to create this lightness of mind could mean that he knows how to pull himself out of his dark thoughts. He knows how to cope with the things that he's feeling. Another thing that caught my attention right off the bat along with other references in the video to car radio, was, "Ever since the 7th grade I learned to fire breathe." Now that calls back to, "My lungs will fill and then deflate. They fill with fire, exhale desire." He could be saying that he either knows how to breathe life into things, like his creations, or he knows how to breathe life into himself when he's struggling with depression, which could correlate back to levitating, to being able to lighten his mind. Now, the most interesting thing to me about the lyrics of Levitate, and of the video for Levitate, is the vulture imagery. Now, right off the bat, when we first learned that vultures were a part of the imagery of Trench, I immediately assumed that they were the bad guys, like vultures, they feed on dead things. But Tyler says, "Don't feed me to the vultures, I am a vulture who feeds on pain." He also says that he feeds on things that fell, which, dead things. Vultures eat dead things. Now, I didn't really know what to make of that, because that's dark. Tyler, that's dark. But my friend Emma reminded me of the lyric in Forest, "I don't know why I feed on emotion. There's a stomach inside my brain." The way I interpret that correlation is that Tyler might be saying, don't hate me for writing about things like mental illness and depression so much, because I struggle with it, and that's why I write about it. Now, a common misconception about 21 Pilots as a band and the lyrics and the message in their songs is that they are romanticizing or profiting off of mental illnesses like depression. And if you think that "Don't feed me to the vultures, I am a vulture" correlates to this idea that people think they romanticize mental illness, but they actually suffer from it, it could explain the line from Nico and the Niners, "Maybe from all the money we made razor blade stores." It could mean that he knows people think that he romanticizes mental illness, that they profit off of it, even though they struggle with it, and that's why it's so prevalent in the music. Another big theme in Levitate that correlates back to car radio is the struggle with vulnerability. In car radio, he doesn't like being left alone with his thoughts because his thoughts are dark, and when he has music to protect him, he doesn't have to be left alone with them. In Levitate, he says this culture is a poacher of overexposure. It's like he's trying to find a balance between not being vulnerable at all and oversharing in a culture where shock sells. But, of course, being vulnerable is scary. Danger in the fabric of this thing I made. I probably shouldn't show you, but it's way too late. Whether he's talking about his creations like the music, the album, or himself, it's clear Tyler is afraid to be vulnerable, which, that's a valid fear. But not just because being vulnerable is a scary thing. Now that they're in the public eye, it's like he's afraid of his vulnerability being misconstrued as selling out or using mental illness for attention and profit. The whole rap is like this stream of consciousness as Tyler tries to explain how difficult it is to navigate being vulnerable in the current culture. But even if he isn't vulnerable and he doesn't discuss these things, he doesn't win. Habits here too, you're the worst, your structure compensates, but compensation feels a lot like rising up to dominate. If he isn't vulnerable and just writes by the rules and writes what sells best, he's a sellout. He's not being honest. From all of that, I've kind of concluded at least half of Levitate is about learning to be open and honest, and be vulnerable with your art without either oversharing or selling out, finding some kind of balance in the middle, which Tyler is not known for being great at. If you look to other songs, something like Polarized comes to mind, where it's one or the other. You're either good or you're bad, like Fairly Local. You're either evil or you're good. And that's not how the world works, and I think Tyler might be realizing that, which, growth. Unlike my hair. Unlike Tyler's hair, we match now. There are a lot of other things in Levitate, in the lyrics, in the video. The moment where he got snatched again, I haven't put very much thought into yet. I was distracted by this realization because this is something that's been in the music a lot, this struggle with vulnerability, especially with the connections to car radio, not just in the lyrics, but in the fact that he got his head shaved in the video. But what interests me is kind of the growth between car radio and Levitate. In car radio, it was him by himself shaving his head. Now it was Jenna shaving his head. And a bunch of other banditos. It's like he's finally learning to accept help from others. He says he knows how to levitate. He knows how to pull himself out of his dark thoughts. He knows how to deal with his depression and his anxiety and his fears. He's using the coping skills and the support system that he's built up over time to help him when he's struggling. And honestly, that's my favorite thing about Trench so far, is the amount of growth that has happened. And that's something that you can track from album to album, but especially going back to like 2011 when he wrote Car Radio, to 2018 when he's writing Levitate, that amount of growth, the way that this theme, this idea that he's writing about, the idea of being vulnerable in a world where that can be used against you, how he's grown and his mind has opened and he's accepting help from others and he's learning to be vulnerable in a safe way. That's, I don't know, I'm really soft about it. I'm proud of him if that's like the meaning that he intended in the song. And even if like this is just an unintentional side effect of writing what he has written, like Tyler Joseph, I'm proud of you. You've come such a long way, but I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think of Levitate? The video, the lyrics, things that you want me to discuss or look into, theories you have. I want to hear them all in the comments. Just a reminder, the Clancy merch is still on sale. All proceeds go to the Clique Ticket Project, which is a nonprofit that buys tickets for people in the Clique who can't afford to buy tickets to see 21 Pilots. Highly recommend. It's good stuff. Alright guys, I'll see you next time. Stay street.